The tone you set and the culture by which you will determine who engages with you. The tone you set and the culture by which you choose to operate in will determine who engages with you, but it also sets the tone for those that come along, how everyone operates in this organization. If we're coaching youth sports and we let the kids do whatever they want, we have no discipline, we just let them go crazy and be emotionally unstable and reckless. We have set the tone and created a culture in which recklessness and a lack of discipline is pretty much the baseline. But if we establish parameters and discipline and instruction and rules and roles and responsibilities, then the kids that we're coaching understand the culture of how we operate. We've set the tone, we've created the baseline. Okay. When it comes down to any organization that you're affiliated with, the tone by which you communicate, the culture that you set will determine the types of people interested in that organization. Just like friend groups, if you're a person who's always partying, who's always the life of the party and consuming substances and doing this and doing that, you're going to attract people who find that lifestyle appealing, right? You set the tone. You teach people how to treat you. You create the culture in which people follow and then ultimately engage with you. So no matter where you are in the world, you have probably heard, if you pay attention to what's going on in the United States, you've heard of the communication of ICE, immigration enforcement, right? The ICE group, right? And what's interesting, there have been a few instances recently which have created public outcry with regard to how ICE interacts with the people, right? But it's so interesting. Go back to what I was saying before regarding culture and tone. And when you have a certain tone, you attract a certain type of person. So I have two video clips here that I want to show. And the first video clip is an old school Army recruitment commercial, right? It was the be all that you can be. I want you to watch this video or listen to the wording of this video, okay? And then I'm going to give you a reaction. I'm going somewhere with this.
We do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day.
Hey, First Sergeant. Good morning.
Find your future in the Army.
The commercial, and this was an old school commercial, and for those that are probably around my age, you remember those commercials. Be all that you can be in the Army, right? It was promoting people wanting to better themselves, who are wanting to accomplish things, right? It created or set this tone or this culture for someone wanting to be better to come and join the Army, right? That tone was set. That was who they were actively recruiting. They were recruiting men, and primarily men, but men and women who want to improve themselves, who want to make an impact, who want to engage and be a part of something bigger than themselves. They set that tone. And so during that era, that was the individual that they attracted, right? That was during the time when I was in high school. And when I was coming out of high school, you had a few options. You were going to college, you were going to trade school or getting a tech degree or something, or you're going to the military. It was like three options. But this whole be all you can be was a viable option for a lot of people. That tone, that culture was set for that demographic. And so as we say that, I'm going to show another clip, okay? And I'm going to bring one in which I mentioned before, in the United States, there is there's a lot of conversation around ICE or immigration enforcement. I'm going to play the recruitment video for ICE agents or people who work in immigration. And I want you to pay attention to the tone of this recruitment video. So just pay attention to it. Pay attention to the tone here. Again, culture and tone. And think about who they're recruiting. Think about who is interested in this particular opportunity.
Join ICE and help us catch the worst of the worst. Drug traffickers, gang members, predators. Join the mission to protect America with bonuses up to $50,000 and generous benefits. Apply now. Join.ice.gov and fulfill your mission. You took an oath to protect and serve, to keep your family, your city safe. But in sanctuary cities, you're ordered to stand down while dangerous illegals walk free. Join ICE and help us catch the worst of the worst. Drug traffickers, gang members, predators. Join the mission to protect America with bonuses up to $50,000 and generous benefits. Apply.
So I want you to think to the difference in tone. This was an ICE recruitment ad. Catch the gang members, catch the terrorists, go and basically what they're wanting. And they showed the image of, a masked individuals going and catching these people, go after the bad guys. I want you to go and get them, go get them. I mean, you're creating a tone in which if they are interacting with someone who is not a terrorist and not a person who's a threat to society, how are they going to interact with them? The tone of this recruitment ad is not the tone of be all that you can be, come work your duty, help make America safe. No, it's not that. It's like, come crackheads. I want you. If you're angry about this, come and do that. You're setting the tone. So when we see that there are potential issues with ICE or immigration with regard to public and the public perception, there is no this should not be surprising, because if you look at the spirit in which they're recruiting people to come and join this force, they're not asking them to come and be better versions of themselves, bring their talents to help America be the best version of itself. No, they're saying, let's come and crack heads. If you want to come crack heads, come on, let's go. That's the thing. When you set the tone, that's who you're bringing in. So you're not bringing in people who just want to be better, right? You also throw the money part in there. It's like, hey, come make some money doing that. It's like you create a different tone, create a different culture. And again, juxtapose that to the video I just played, where it was an old school Army recruitment ad, where it was all about be all that you can be, where it was really about the culture that we're setting here is we want people who want to be the best version of themselves to come bring their gift, talent, skill to help us protect people. That's what we want to bring. It's a different culture. So we have to be mindful of the culture and the tone that we set, because those that interact with us, those that engage with us, those that we bring on into our organizations, they're going to assimilate to the culture and the tone that we set. So if leadership is brash, they're cussing, they're calling people names, they're going after people, they're being hyper aggressive, people who want to be affiliated with whatever organization that leadership sits over, they feel as if they have to be aggressive and have that tone and be brash with people as well. It's interesting. There's a historical narrative about Steve Jobs, right? Steve Jobs, was head of Apple, and he was a visionary in the tech space. But there's another component in which there's a lot of stories about how Steve Jobs was really not a nice dude to be around, right? In the professional space. There's a story after story about him basically being an asshole. And the thing is, there was this downstream effect in which after Steve Jobs had this monumental success, a lot of the up and coming individuals in the tech space felt like they had to operate like assholes too, because monkey see, monkey do. You see one person succeed, you're like, oh, I got to do exactly like them. I guess that culture is what works because this person achieved monetary success. But the reality is, what was the devastation in the wake, right? And what culture was set, what tone was set, and how ultimately beneficial was it? Yes, it may have generated some technological breakthroughs and generated significant revenue, but at what cost? We have to think through the lens of the culture and the tone that we set, because it speaks a lot. But when you pay attention to the tone and the culture that leaders propagate and put out there, it gives you an understanding, and things are no longer surprising when you have certain outcomes, because all you have to do is look at the top. Everything flows downstream. Everything flows downstream from the culture that was set. Everything flows downstream from the tone that is set. And so we have to be very mindful of that. And so my whole thing is, I just wanted to show the juxtaposition, the old school Army recruitment video and this relatively new ICE recruitment video, and show the difference in tone and allow you to draw your conclusion as to where a lot of issues arise. And sometimes it's not in the people, because the overwhelming majority of people follow orders, right? But they're also adopting the tone and the culture of whatever their leadership says we need to do. So if the leadership says go, bust down doors and crack heads, then that's the culture spirit of how they're going to operate. But if the leadership says, hey, yes, that is a tool in your tool belt, but we're not always going to lead with force, we have multiple ways of operating, then guess what? The people that follow are going to be more thoughtful. If you're in a position of leadership, be mindful of the tone you set. Be very mindful of the culture that you're creating, because everybody that falls under your umbrella will adopt that tone and adopt that culture. And that may or may not be beneficial in the long run. All right. Well, hey, as always, y'all go be the quarterback of your mindset. Be blessed, well, and wise. And until next time, I'll holler at you. Peace.